Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Balan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishkam Vitam Sya Om Jnanatimarandasya Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Guruganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanagam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwa Gurunsha Divyad Bhagavat Prem Noe Bijapradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavaranam Balarka Chelan Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Banditam Shivaram Madeka Sharanam Yashishwara Sridharam Vanshakopatarubyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahaprabhu Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. We're reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagawat by Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur. This is the Madhya-khanda, chapter 2. Mahaprabhu starts Sankirtanw at the house of Srivas Pandit. All glories to the moon-like Sri Gaurachandra, whose cooling rays benedict the entire universe. Kindly offer me your lotus feet as the eternal treasure of my heart. All glories to Lord Gauranga and his devotees. If one hears the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya, one surely attains the highest stage of love of Krishna. Advaita Acharya Prabhu heard the different comments from the Vaishnavas about the Lord's ecstatic trance, and he was extremely pleased. Overcome with joy, he spoke to the Vaishnavas. My dear devotee brothers, I had a dream last night, which I wish to reveal to all of you. I took rest feeling very sad and dejected. I was fasting because I could not understand a text of the Bhagavad Gita. Sometime during the night, in my dream, a person came to me and said, "Wake up, Acharya, take your food immediately. I will reveal to you the real meaning of the Bhagavad Gita text. However, first you must rise and eat, and then worship me. Discard the melancholy in your heart, for your austerities and vows have finally reaped a full harvest. All your fasting, your worship, and your endless entreaties to the Lord, crying, 'Krishna, Krishna,' and the vow you made with lifted hands for the advent of the Lord will all come to fruition. The chanting of Lord Krishna's holy name will constantly reverberate in every country, in every town, and in every village. By your mercy, everyone will be able to experience here in Navadip, in Srivas' house, devotional ecstasy that is rarely achieved even by Lord Brahma. Now I will take your leave, but first you must eat. I will appear to you again in the future." When I opened my eyes, I saw our Lord Vishvambar, but within moments he vanished from my sight. I do not understand the mysterious ways of Lord Krishna. However, how he acts and to whom he reveals what secrets. Vishvambar's elder brother, Vishwarup, used to come to my house and discuss Bhagavad Gita. At that time, Vishvambar was a most exquisite child who was most charming to behold. He would come to my house to call his brother. The little child Vishvambar captivated my entire being with his extraordinary beauty. I would spontaneously bless him, saying, "May you develop pure devotion to the Lord." The child hailed from an illustrious family of great scholars. His maternal grandfather was Sri Nilambar Chakravarti. Lord Vishvambar is a great scholar, so it is natural that he would become attached to Lord Krishna. It is extremely pleasing to hear all the wonderful activities of Vishvambar. All of you kindly bless him that he may develop the purest and highest devotional mood. May the Supreme Lord Krishna be merciful upon all, benedicting everyone to become thoroughly mad with the chanting of the Lord's holy name. If there is any truth to my words, then in the future everyone will come to the house of the great Brahman Sri Vishwambar. Advaita Acharya Prabhu roared jubilantly, and all the devotees joined in with him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead descended in the form of his name, and everyone chanted, Hari, Hari. Someone said, Nimai Pandit has now become a great devotee, so he will propagate the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord and increase our joy. The devotees offered their obeisances to Advaita Acharya Prabhu and left in great ecstasy, chanting the holy name of Lord Hari. Whenever Vishwambar met anyone on the street, he would always speak with great affection. When he went for his early morning bath in the Ganges, he would meet all the Vaishnava devotees on the way. When he saw Srivas Thakur, he would offer his obeisances. Being very pleased with his behavior, the devotees would bless him, saying, May you develop unflinching devotion to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Always chant Lord Krishna's name and only hear Krishna's glories. Everything becomes auspicious and successful when one worships the Supreme Lord Krishna. Without devotional service to his lotus feet, physical beauty, learning, etc. are useless. Krishna is the Supreme Father and the life and soul of everyone. Simply try to develop undeviating love for the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Heartwarming words such as these would fill Vishwambar with joy. Lifting his face, he would glance at everyone, showering his mercy. He would say, Your blessings carry the weight of real truth. Who other than you devotees can bless me with the mercy to receive devotional attachment to the Lord's lotus feet? Elevated devotees like yourselves are capable of granting devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna is very pleased and showers his mercy upon those who serve his devotees. I consider that it is due to my great fortune that you are teaching me the process of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. I know that I can become attached to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna if I can serve pure devotees like yourselves. In great humility, the Lord would fall down and catch the feet of the Vaishnavas. He would render menial service to them by wringing the wet cloth of one, folding the dhoti of another. Sometimes he brought the clay from the Ganga for one, and sometimes he brought a heavy basket of flowers home for another. All the Vaishnavas would mildly protest, saying, O Vishwambar, why are you doing this? However, the Lord continued to serve the Vaishnavas. In this way, the Lord would serve his own devotees and servants every day, performing all varieties of errands for them. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna himself, yet he gave up his own position to serve his devotees. All the scriptures proclaim that Lord Krishna is everyone's dearest friend. Lord Krishna never hates or dislikes anyone. He is equally disposed to all living entities, yet he is even willing to break this injunction for his pure and dedicated servants. The proof of this statement is that Lord Krishna eliminated Duryodhana's entire family. It is the natural tendency of a pure devotee to serve the Supreme Lord Krishna, and it is Krishna's nature to serve his devotees. Lord Krishna becomes purchased by the love of his surrendered devotees, who are thus able to control him. Satyabhama and Dwarka can bear witness to this statement. The Supreme Personality, Lord Krishna, was now living secretly in Navadip as Lord Gaurasundar, Sri Vishwambar. Yet no one could recognize the Lord and the purpose for which he had accepted this incarnation. Whoever desires to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna must serve his pure devotees. Lord Gaurachandra personally taught all the living entities that service to the Vaishnavas is the highest form of worship. Lord Vishwambar did not feel ashamed to serve his devotees. He did all sorts of menial services for them, carrying things for them, washing their cloth. The Vaishnavas, however, respectfully held his hands and tried to dissuade him. The devotees were very impressed with the Lord's humility. With all good intentions, they blessed him, saying, "Worship the lotus feet of Krishna. Remember only Krishna and always chant his holy name. May Sri Krishna be as dear to you as your very life. Always repeat Lord Krishna's name and become his dedicated menial servant. May only Lord Krishna be manifest within your heart, and may your association free us from all suffering. By your grace, may all of those wretched fools who ridicule the chanting of the Lord's holy name drown in the nectarian flood of Krishna Prema. You have defeated the entire world with your knowledge of the scriptures. Now in the same way, you must annihilate the fallen atheists with the purity of your devotion. May we, by your mercy, be overwhelmed with happiness through chanting Krishna's name and dancing in ecstasy." All the Vaishnava devotees touched the Lord and blessed him. Then they revealed to him the sorrows in their hearts. Alas, in Navadvip, all the scholars and teachers speak endlessly on various subjects, but when it comes to explaining the process of devotional service to Krishna, they remain silent. There are many great scholars, stalwarts of the renounced order, and ascetics living in Navadvip, yet not one of them is heard glorifying Lord Krishna. Instead of praising the Lord's pastimes and explaining the process of devotional service, they are always criticizing. A sinful audience hears their words and believes in them. Thus they treat us worse than dirt or grass in the street. My Lord, chanting of Krishna's name cannot be heard anywhere, so we are burning in the fire of distress. However, we now see that Lord Krishna is now pleased with us. Therefore, he has inspired you from within to take to the path of devotion. Now we know that you will surely be the cause of annihilating the atheist. Now we know that you will surely be the cause of annihilating the atheist. May you live forever chanting the holy name of Krishna, and may all the transcendental qualities of Krishna be revealed by you to the entire world. The Lord accepted the blessings of his devotees with deep gratitude, for a Vaishnava's blessings will surely increase one's attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna. However, the distressing plight and words of the devotees affected Sri Vishwambar, and he considered revealing himself very soon. The Lord replied, "You are all my beloved devotees of the Lord. You are all beloved devotees of the Lord. Whatever you say must certainly happen. My life is truly blessed by your encouraging words. I know that when you glorify the Supreme Lord Krishna and chant his holy name, then there is no one who can stop you, not even death. What can a sinful atheist do to you? You just continue chanting the glories of Krishna Chandra. The Supreme Lord cannot bear to see his devotees suffer. Therefore, Lord Krishna appears in different incarnations to protect his devotees. I see now that you will be the cause of Sri Krishna Chandra's appearance in his next incarnation in Navadvip to convert this whole place into the spiritual planet of Vaikuntha. You will redeem this world from illusion. Please allow me the favor that I may always be your humble servant." Lord Vishwambar then touched the feet of all the Vaishnavas, and the devotees in return spontaneously blessed him profusely. Finishing their bath in the Ganga, they dispersed and returned to their respective houses. The Lord was feeling extremely joyful, but as he began to contemplate the words of the devotees and the suffering they were experiencing, he felt anger rising within him and a desire to punish the atheistic society. He roared angrily, repeating, "I shall destroy them, I shall destroy them. I am him, conflicting emotions took hold of the Lord. Sometimes he laughed, sometimes he cried, sometimes he fell unconscious, and sometimes he felt like beating and destroying. The Lord thus manifested his terrible mood of destroying the miscreants. Sachimata could not understand her son. Everything seemed very perplexing. She thought that some disease had attacked the Lord. Sachimata felt nothing but affection for her son, so she was deeply affected by this peculiar transformation in him. She discussed it with everyone she met. The Lord has already taken away my husband and my son, and all that I have left is this young boy. Now his actions perplex me. I do not know how to think of him. Sometimes he laughs, sometimes he cries, and at other times he falls down unconscious. Often he speaks to himself, and sometimes he yells aloud, saying, "Break the heads of the atheists." Sometimes he runs to a tree and climbs into its branches. Then suddenly, with closed eyes, he falls down to the ground. Sometimes his grinding teeth make a grating noise. Sometimes he claps his hands upon his body. Then falling down, he rolls on the ground, not saying a word. The ordinary ignorant people could not see the symptoms of Krishna Prema in the Lord and thought it to be some disease, a sort of disorder of the life's airs. They suggested that he should remain bound up. Sachimata's description of the Lord's condition attracted many people to come and see him. When the Lord saw the people, he charged at them. These ignorant fools simply laughed and ran away, thinking that the Lord was suffering from some life air or wind disorder. Sachimata became flustered and ran after the people to pacify them. Some of the people told her he is definitely suffering from some disorder, while others said, "You are just a simple Brahmin's wife. What is there to ask about this? It is apparent that he is suffering from some inner disorder. Give him coconut water to drink and tie his feet in case he gets violent when the madness overcomes him." Some others suggested he is not to be cured with some simple medicine. You must give him nothing less than Shiva ghee to relieve him from the attack. Apply the ghee upon his head and then give him a bath. Sachi Devi, the affectionate, kind, and noble-minded mother of the entire universe, became fraught with apprehension. Feeling at a loss, she simply prayed to Lord Govinda, taking complete shelter in him. She sent people to the house of Srivas and various other devotees, requesting them to come to her house. One day, Srivas Pandit came to visit the Lord, and Vishwambara immediately got up and greeted him with respect. Upon seeing a pure devotee of the Lord, Vishwambara's ecstatic emotions increased. As Srivas Pandit was circumambulating Tulsi Devi, the Lord manifested ecstatic symptoms, crying, shaking, shivering, horripilation, and fell down unconscious on the ground. After a while, when external consciousness returned to the Lord, he began to cry profusely and shook uncontrollably. To Srivas Pandit, all these manifestations of the Lord were most wonderful. He thought to himself, these are the symptoms of the highest spiritual ecstasy in Krishna Prema. Foolish persons misunderstand and think that this is due to wind or life air disorder. When the Lord could speak, he said to Srivas Pandit, "Oh, it is you, Pandit. What do you make of my condition? Some people are suggesting that I should be kept bound up because I suffer from some terrible wind disease. What is your opinion?" Smiling, Srivas Pandit replied, "What a wonderful wind. I also want to be attacked by the same wind that is causing this disorder in you. Actually, I see signs of great spiritual ecstasy of Krishna Prema in you. You have been favored by Krishna's mercy." The Lord was very happy to hear this from Srivas Pandit, and he embraced him affectionately. He said, "Everyone is saying that this is a wind disorder, but now you have given me great hope. For this I am grateful and forever indebted to you. If you also had said that I was suffering from some wind disorder, then certainly I would have jumped into the Ganga." Srivas replied, "Your love for the Supreme Lord Krishna has reached such ecstatic heights that it is desirable even by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and sages such as Shonika. Let us all come together and glorify Krishna's holy name without caring for the criticisms of the atheists and sinners. Srivas Pandit said to Sachimata, "Cast your sorrows away. Your son does not suffer from any wind disorder. I tell you positively that these are symptoms, but that these symptoms are due to the highest love of Krishna. Even though you are witnessing these wonderful and ecstatic pastimes of Lord Krishna, these activities and topics are far beyond the intellectual capacity of ignorant materialistic non-devotees, so such subjects should not be discussed in their presence." Srivas left the house of Lord Chaitanya and returned home, leaving behind a pacified and relieved Sachimata. However, she could not completely remove the despondency she felt within, for she was always afraid that her son would leave home at any moment. Such are the wonderful activities of Lord Vishwambar. How can anyone understand these transcendental pastimes unless the Lord himself reveals them? One day, the Lord and Gadadhar Pandit visited the house of Advaita Acharya Prabhu. Entering his house, they saw that the Acharya was busy offering water and tulsi to the Lord. With raised hands, he was calling out, "Hari, Hari." Sometimes he was laughing and sometimes he was crying, completely oblivious to himself. He emitted loud roaring sounds like a mad lion full of raging fury, as if he were the incarnation of the Lord of Destruction, Rudra. When Lord Vishwambar saw Advaita Acharya Prabhu overcome with spiritual emotions, he fell down unconscious. Due to his pure devotional insight, Advaita Acharya Prabhu could see that Lord Vishwambar was his most worshipable Lord. He thought to himself, "Today I've captured you. You were a cheater, but today you won't escape from me. All this time you have been hiding your real identity from me and everyone else, but now, somehow or other, you have come here. You won't always cheat me. I know who you are, and now I will cheat the cheater." Advaita Acharya Prabhu made all arrangements to worship the Lord, desiring to reveal to the world the sublime absolute position of Sri Vishwambar, who so far had very cunningly hidden his true supreme spiritual identity. He assembled all the different paraphernalia and offered incense, flowers, and a ghee lamp to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. He repeated one verse over and over again. "My Lord, you are the well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmins, and you are the well-wisher of the entire human society and the world." Sri Advaita was in the greatest bliss to recognize the Lord of his heart, and he cried tears of joy which washed the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. Chanting the sloka continuously, he stood before him with folded hands and worshipped his lotus feet. A little amused but nevertheless respectful, Gadadhar Pandit told Advaita Acharya Prabhu, "O Goswami, it does not befit you to behave like this with someone so much younger than yourself, a mere lad." Advaita Acharya Prabhu slightly laughed at Gadadhar Pandit's words and replied, "O Gadadhar Pandit, how long are you going to see him as a mere lad?" A profound thought dawned on Gadadhar Pandit's heart, and he said, "Is he the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead?" After some time, Vishwambar regained his external consciousness and saw that Advaita Acharya was worshipping him, absorbed in an ecstatic trance. Lord Vishwambar quickly withdrew within himself, hiding his real identity. With folded hands, he began offering praises and glorification of Advaitacharya Prabhu. He offered his obeisances to Advaitacharya and touched his feet, taking the dust and placing it upon his head, surrendering his life to Advaitacharya Prabhu. You are a magnanimous person, he said. Please be gracious to me. I am always your humble servant. Seeing you today is a blessing for me. And if you are merciful, I will be able to chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. You can destroy the darkness of nescience because your heart is the permanent residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. The Supreme Lord is most expert in glorifying his devotees, and this wonderful exchange of love and affection between the devotee and the Lord is spontaneous. Sri Advaita said to himself, all this is bravado. Today I have out-cheated the biggest cheat. The smiling Advaitacharya replied, my Supreme Lord, to me you are superior to everyone. Please remain here. I want to be with you and hear of the wonderful transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. I wish to see you all the time. It is everyone's desire to be with you and in your company chant the glories of Lord Krishna. The Lord accepted, and appreciating Advaitacharya's sentiment, he went back to his house. Advaitacharya Prabhu was now convinced that his dear Lord had appeared. Secretly, he left Nabadep and went to Shantipur to test his bond of affection with the Lord. He thought, if he is truly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then I am simply his humble servant. Certainly, then he will be capable of tying this servant with the bond of love and bringing him to his side. Who is capable of understanding the mind of Sri Advaitacharya? By his spiritual potency, he was able to invoke the appearance of the Supreme Lord in this world. One who has no faith in these words will soon fall away from the righteous path and be destroyed. The Supreme Lord Vishvambar continued to perform the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord along with all the Vaishnavas. All of them were very happy to have the Lord amongst them, but none of them could actually recognize him as the Supreme Person. Every day they saw the Lord go into a wonderful ecstatic trance. This was an extraordinary sight for them, and it caused them to wonder whether this personality were actually the Supreme Lord himself. When the Lord went into one of his ecstatic trances, only Ananta Sesh could attempt the description. When the Lord was in ecstasy, he trembled like a falling autumn leaf. This trembling was so uncontrollable that thousands of devotees could not keep him still. Streams of tears flowed unchecked like hundreds of rivers. His entire body broke out in horripilation like a ripe golden jackfruit. From time to time he would break into loud laughter, being very amused with himself. At other times he would fall unconscious to the ground, unable to contain the bubbling ecstasy within. When external consciousness returned to him, he kept repeating Lord Krishna's name. The loud roaring sound that he sometimes made seemed to burst the eardrums of the non-devotees. However, by hearing the same, the devotees of the Lord, by his grace, gradually became closer to crossing the ocean of material existence. At times his body would become stiff like a marble statue, and at other times soft and pliable like butter. The devotees saw the wonderful transformations of the Lord, and every one of them was convinced that to manifest such ecstatic symptoms was not humanly possible. They each offered comments according to their own level of understanding. Someone said, He is definitely a partial incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Someone else said, he is a great devotee, maybe a Sukadeva Goswami or Prahlad or even Narad Muni. Another said, he is here to remove all calamities. The wives of the Vaishnava devotees who observed all this also remarked, Lord Krishna has taken his birth again. Another lady said, I think that he is an incarnation of Krishna. In this way, different people offered different opinions about the Lord. When the Lord finally regained his external consciousness, he would embrace everyone. To fully describe his ecstasy is impossible for me. He would pitifully cry out for Krishna, saying, O tempter who steals the hearts of the damsels of Vrindaban, O divine friend of the weak and frail, O ocean of mercy, O my Lord Shama, alas, alas, tell me, how will I spend these awful and fretful days when I am unable to see you? At other times he called out, heavily sighing, where can I find the sweet face of my Lord, which is the most beautiful of flowers? Then, gradually becoming still, the Lord would softly reveal the pain in his heart, saying, please be merciful and hear my pitiful condition. There is no end to my sorrow. Although I had found my life, my dear Krishna, now I have lost him. The devotees were greatly enchanted to hear these words that explained the mystery of his behavior and increased their faith and reverence. Sitting around the Lord, they all listened as the Lord continued. While returning from Gaya, I came to a village named Kanai Natashala. There I saw a young boy of exquisite beauty. He had a glowing dark complexion, the color of the bark of the tamal tree. His curly hair was decorated with wild flowers. He wore a beautiful crown with a peacock feather stuck in it. All his jewelry and gems shone brightly like the sun. It is impossible for me to describe the beauty of the delicately ornamented flute as he held it in his hand, capturing everyone's heart. His fine lotus feet looked so attractive with ankle bells softly touching his skin. His graceful, strong arms were more formidable than blue pillars and were covered with sparkling jewels and gems. From his neck hung the famous Kaustuba jewel. From his neck hung the famous Kaustuba jewel, and his chest was marked with the Srivas. How will I describe to you the beauty of his golden yellow silken dhoti? From his neck hung the famous Kaustuba jewel, and his chest was marked with the Srivas. How will I describe to you the beauty of his golden yellow silken dhoti, his dangling fish earrings, and his lazy lotus petal eyes? Smiling sweetly, he approached me and embraced me. Then suddenly he ran away, fearing what I do not know. No one can enter into these intimate, loving moods of Lord Chaitanya until he is especially blessed by the Lord to understand them. The Lord could proceed only so far with his narration and would fall down unconscious to the ground, crying out, O my Lord Krishna. Greatly concerned, all the devotees would carefully remove the dust from the Lord's body while loudly chanting, Krishna, Krishna. The Lord might become a little calm, and then again he might become extremely restless, crying out, where is my beloved Krishna? Where is my beloved Lord? He would weep bitterly. Finally, the Lord would control himself and could hold him. He would weep bitterly. Finally, the Lord would control himself and could hold himself still. His body then gradually returned to its butter-soft condition, and the devotees would be relieved. The Lord's words, steeped with devotional emotions, filled the devotees' hearts to the brim. They said, we are all feeling very fortunate and blessed to have your association. Who Who is attracted by the opulence of Vaikuntha Dham when you are here? A moment's association with you will enable anyone to taste the highest nectar of devotion. We are all your followers under your protection, so kindly lead us in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna. We have been burned by the caustic words of the atheist. Let your tears of Krishna Prem cool us forever. The Lord was very happy to hear these words from the Vaishnavas, and he returned to his house filled with love of Krishna, walking like a mad lion. Although he returned home, he never behaved like an ordinary mundane family man in his house. He was always immersed in love of Krishna. Loving tears of separation from Krishna flowed profusely from his eyes like streams. How did the waters which had washed his lotus feet in the form of the Ganga now appear in his eyes? He had only one response to anyone's inquiry. Whenever he saw a Vaishnava devotee, he would rush to him asking, "Where is my beloved Krishna? Where is my beloved Krishna?" Crying out like this, he would break down, weeping, and the devotees would try to calm him down. One day, when Gadadhar came to see the Lord, he noticed that the Lord was holding a betel leaf in his hand. As soon as the Lord saw Gadadhar, he asked, "Where is that blackish boy who is dressed in golden yellow and radiant with blossoming youthful beauty?" Such earnest yearnings of the Lord for Krishna were truly heartbreaking, and it left everyone at a loss for words. Gadadhar Pandit replied bravely, "Lord Krishna resides within your heart eternally." When the Lord heard that Krishna was within his heart, he began to pierce his chest with his nails. With immense endeavor, Gadadhar Pandit was able to restrain the Lord by holding tightly his hands and trying to calm him down. "There, Krishna will come just now. Try to compose yourself." Sachimata saw how Gadadhar Pandit was able to pacify the Lord, and she was very satisfied with him. She thought, "I have never seen anybody so intelligent as this young boy. I feel afraid to even comfort him, and this young lad has so intelligently and nicely pacified Nimai." She spoke to Gadadhar Pandit, "Dear boy, stay here always. Do not leave Nimai's company to go anywhere else." Sachimata was awestruck by the Lord's ecstatic devotional trances. She no longer saw Nimai as merely her young son. He is not an ordinary mortal, she thought. How is it possible for an ordinary human being to shed tears like gushing cascades? I do not know which extraordinary personality has come here. Sachimata was therefore afraid to come in front of the Lord. Towards the evening, all the Vaishnavas gradually assembled in Lord Chaitanya's house. Sri Mukunda Mahashai began reciting verses in a sweet, melodious voice. Mukunda was blessed with such a beautiful voice that as soon as the Lord heard him recite, he went into an ecstatic trance. He loudly resounded the Lord's name, roaring like a lion. Losing his balance, he fell in all directions. This made it difficult for the devotees to hold him. All the ecstatic symptoms manifested within him simultaneously. He expressed apprehension, laughter, trembling, pallor, horripilation, roaring oblivion, dizziness and all. The devotees were filled with amazement at such a wonderful sight. The Lord's ecstatic absorption and love of Krishna gradually increased in intensity. The whole night passed as if as if in a moment, and in the early morning hours, the Lord came out of his trance. Day and night, the Lord was absorbed in the nectar of kirtan, chanting the holy name. The Lord had already begun propagating the holy name, and seeing him, all of the distress of the devotees was destroyed. The beloved son of Sachimata, Gaurasundar, continually chanted the Lord's name loudly, like the roaring of a lion, waking the atheist out of their stupor. Their kirtan disturbed the non-devotees. Thus the atheistic population became enraged and aimed abusive language at the devotees. Someone said, "I cannot even sleep at night." Another commented, "All their screaming and shouting will enrage the Lord, and that will cause their complete destruction." Another said, "They avoid philosophy and speculative knowledge, and so they behave arrogantly." Another said, "Who knows what they sing about? Behind all this mischief is that Brahman Srivas. He and his three brothers get together and scream, 'Krishna, Krishna,' like madmen, just to fill their bellies. Does not one earn piety by chanting within his mind? Is this not sheer madness? The whole country will be ruined because of this Srivas. Today I have heard from the king's court that they will send 2 boats with government men to capture anyone who sings kirtan in Nadia. This is the king's order. Srivas Pandit and his men will run away and escape, but we will have to suffer the entire brunt of this. I warned all of you earlier to throw Srivas's house into the river. However, you did not act because you thought I was joking, and now it is too late. The danger has come upon us." Another said, "What do we care? If the government men come here, we will just capture Srivas and hand him over to them." The atheistic population of Navadvip discussed about the Vaishnavas in this manner, while the 2 boats with the government men came to Navadvip. The Vaishnavas heard this news and simply took shelter of the Supreme Lord by remembering him. In this way, all of their fears were dissolved. They said, "Whatever the Supreme Lord Krishna Chandra wants will happen, and it is for the best. As long as he is here, then what fear do we have from these wretched people?" Srivas Pandit was a soft-hearted and magnanimous soul. This news disturbed him, and he became anxious for the well-being of the Vaishnavas. He was apprehensive because he knew that everything could happen under the Muslim rule. He was apprehensive because he knew that anything could happen under the Muslim rule. The Supreme Lord Gaurasundar, the Supersoul, knew everything in everyone's heart. The devotees were still not aware that the Supreme Lord had come and was amongst them. Now the Lord decided to manifest himself. Sri Vishwambar roamed everywhere, unperturbed and unconcerned, his transcendental beauty unmatched within the entire creation. His body was decorated with sandalwood paste. His reddish lips were like the early morning sun, and his eyes were like a blooming lotus flower. Cascading curly tresses shone like a halo around his glowing moon-like face. He wore a Brahman thread around his shoulders and dressed in fine cloths. He wore a Brahman thread around his shoulders and dressed in fine fine clothes. His exquisite personal beauty completely captivated the mind. Casually chewing on pan, he went for a walk upon the riverbank. When the devotees saw the Lord, they became very joyful, but the atheistic people felt intimidated. He must have heard everything of the threat, they said, yet he shows no sign of fear. He strolls about as though he is a prince. Another person said, "Listen, friends, I understand all this. Wait and see. What you are observing now is just another trick to escape." Fearlessly, Lord Vishwambar looked in every direction, observing the scenic beauty of the swiftly flowing Ganga and her banks. He saw a herd of cows drinking on the banks. Some of them went to the river to drink water, and a few young ones jumped about with raised tails. Some of them were butting each other, while others just lay around chewing their cud. The sight immediately agitated the Lord, and he forgot himself and began emitting loud roaring sounds. He kept saying, I am him, in this condition, absorbed within himself, as the Supreme Lord Vishwambar swiftly ran to Srivas' house, shouting, "What are you doing now, Srivas?" So I'm going to stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Garadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunan Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunan Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunan Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunan Jai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Te Vignana Shabhishta Puran Jai Te Vignana Shabhishta Puran Jai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Jai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Sasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras Padarenu Mora Panchagras Sadar Janana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Sadar Janana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame Janame More Ambilas Janame Janame More Ambilas Jai Gosai Jabe Baje Koilabas Jai Gosai Jabe Baje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakash Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakash Shri Guru Vaishnava Padema Jayaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padema Jayaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas. Narinam Sankirtanw Kohe Narottam Das. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Parvajakacharya Tara Sadashishi Mad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Parvajakacharya Tara Sadashishi Mad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Parvajakacharya Tara Sadashishi Mad Srila Bhakti Rakakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Prem Sigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasade Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Koladvip Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindaban Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kun Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtanw Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Goswami Tirobab Mahotsav Ki Jai. Shri Gauridas Pandit Tirobab Mahotsav Ki Jai. Shri Ramai Brahmachari Archaniketan Prabhu Tirobab Mahotsav Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.